I was lucky enough to get armbarred by Ronda Rousey, a lead animator on FIFA, a couple of Fight Night titles with UFC, Dragon Age. My name is Lee Dowsett. I'm an animation director here at Lakshya. So I've been in the games industry for 24 years. Animation, I always grew up with it. I was always watching, Tom and Jerry cartoons, Looney Tunes stuff. I remember going to an arcade, and it was probably in the early 80s, probably 83, 84, and they got Dragon's Lair. And that was the thing that just blew me away the most, that you could play an interactive cartoon that was, drawn and directed by one of the best animators that's ever existed. Yeah, I mean, that was probably the genesis for me, or whatever you call it. Somebody told me this years and years ago, we make toys, right? That's what we do. We make entertainment, we make toys, we try and make people happy. And I think that's what always excites me. And sometimes, you just have to use common sense. So if you're looking at something here and you're doing a workflow and it's really complicated and awkward and time consuming, there's usually a better way of doing it. It's a mixture of everything. You'll get some clients that will give you a ton of information and will have very particular needs, and then you will follow their brief to the letter. And then you'll get other clients that will give you absolutely nothing, and that's when you get to be creative. It's a blessing and a curse. That's where it gets kind of interesting. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. And that's when you have to have those kind of frank discussions with if we're talking about clients in particular, it's like, we've hit a wall here, where do you want us to go? And that's when we'd usually kind of block out a couple of different ideas and say, what one of these is closest to the vision that you're thinking? And then they'll be like, that one. And then we're like, oh, okay, good. Oh, yeah, I mean, it can be a very sort of, you work in solitude, you work a very long time on a very short piece of animation, but you are bringing something to life. And I think that's what I've always enjoyed about it. And there's millions of games out there, right? But you'll say, oh, I worked on such and such, and they're just like, oh, I used to love playing that. Yeah, it's really rewarding, I think. If you've worked on something that has really touched somebody and they've really enjoyed playing through it, that's kind of the best feeling of all, for sure.